Hey, Delinda. Hi.
I'm so sorry about that. I thought I was admitting you and I accidentally admitted someone else. And then I
I
tried
think
to
I
think.
think people are, oh, you look so cute.
Thank you.
You are
I tried
not gonna
putting him in the
believe.
waiting room and I actually put you back.
Oh, it's okay. Um, you look so cute. This is gonna be so fun. I'm so excited to see it. Um, so yeah, if you want to make me a co-host, I can admit people so you don't get distracted with admitting people.
Thank you so much. I was
Yeah, and
thinking about that.
I'm just here. So let me know. I did the craziest thing this morning. I like cannot see out of my left eye. I accidentally put eardrops in my eye at
Oh
5 in the
no.
morning. I'm
Oh
like,
my goodness.
so it's like the swelling is going down, but I'm just like, can
I
you
can't
tell?
see it. I don't see
Okay, good,
anything. Yeah.
good. I feel like such an idiot. I was like, it
Oh,
was 5 in the morning. I keep it in my toiletry band and I noticed right away it just started burning.
oh my God.
I know. I
So,
know.
do you mind if I test with you? I did go through and do share
Yeah.
screen and all that, but if I would like to try with actually having someone on.
Yeah.
Let's see
I
here.
haven't made it to the yep. Perfect.
Okay. So let me go over here.
And the Zoom link is going to be sent to all attendees at 2:10.
Okay.
Yep. So I'll start admitting in people for you at right at 2:15 or probably like 2:12.
Okay.
And then you can get started right at 2:15.
Okay.
Okay?
Is it advancing okay on your end?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
coming through actually very clearly.
Great.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, I've never heard this story. I've
Oh,
heard about the
really?
Peep Harvey, but I don't know it, so I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah. Okay. So let me stop. Okay. So go back to.
Yeah, we had about, did you go to Second City yesterday?
I didn't.
You didn't. Because by
I
putting the
kept
Zoom
meaning
link,
to get on there and lost track of time and didn't. Um, how
just
was
by putting,
Allison? First
it was
happening now, or was
so fun. People loved it. But just by putting the Zoom link in, I mean, there were over 300 people on it.
oh
So
my
I
God.
think you're gonna get a lot of people. I mean, you're the one closing it out. This is the very last activity of the day. You and Allison.
No pressure.
Oh my
Well,
gosh,
so
no.
can I go back and watch Allison since because she was
Oh
right before,
yeah,
right?
it's
Okay.
posted. I'll send you the Vimeo link privately because it's going to be taken down today.
Okay. And what
But
about the Second City one?
that was live.
Oh
So
man.
yeah. Um, but I'll send you Allison so you can see it. It's really cute.
So was hers pre-recorded or
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Hers was pre-recorded and we decided that's why I changed the time. We decided to put, just because you are both ACGME staff, we decided to put you on at the same time, 2:15.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. What time is it? 2:04. Okay. Where did you get those frames?
I got them from this company called Vogue Me. So that's been my pandemic shopping spree.
They are
bought
so
probably
cute.
12 pairs. It's like, well, I can't wear my clothes or shoes or anything. So the only thing that people can see is the neck up. So I might as well come up with some new accessory. So glasses it is.
Yeah, they're so fun. What did you do for
Thanks.
your birthday? Anything?
A couple of my friends took me out to dinner last night. We went to Tanta,
Oh,
and
fun.
another friend of mine, her birthday was earlier this month. We're supposed to get together Sunday. We haven't decided where yet, but
Okay.
I was
So do
supposed to
you,
leave tomorrow morning for Cuba,
oh my
but
gosh, that's on
postponed.
my
Yeah,
bucket list.
yeah. So
That would
it'll
have been,
still be there.
yeah, that is so cool.
Mhm.
You'll have to go once this is over. I canceled a trip to St. Lucia
Uh,
and I was just like, you know what? I am just ready to go somewhere and not be around my kids.
yeah. So when was St. Lucia supposed to happen?
Last April, but
Oh,
it was like we hadn't been on a trip in years just because of everything. And
Yeah. Was it going to be a couples trip, just you and your husband, or?
yeah, it was our 10-year wedding anniversary. So we had planned
Oh.
it, and things happen.
Mm.
So it's just this whole year is just crazy. I mean, what did you think of the conference? What did you think of the platform and stuff?
It was great. So so far I've only been able to attend the sessions that I worked, that I've been supported for, and everything went smoothly.
Good.
In the sessions that I attended. I mean, you guys just like rocked it, like with giving us all the information that we needed. And
good.
Our sessions, so I worked with the same two people on all the sessions, Carrie Price and Andy Hoffman, and everything went seamlessly. We did have a person that joined today. I don't know when she joined, but we noticed her during the breakouts. This was the session with, I can't remember the session number, but it was the CCC component or whatever.
Okay.
And Andy sent everybody to breakouts, and there was this woman who came back. And so he asked her if she had a problem with her session, or did she change her mind with the breakout? Does she need help? And she's just looking at us. And at first I thought she was frozen, but then I could see people behind her moving. And I'm like, so she's not frozen. And she was just looking at us like this, like, and and she had headphones on. And then she looked like she was calling in from prison. So Andy asked her again, and she didn't respond. She didn't type anything in the chat. And she had this little smirk on her face, like, I hear you, but I'm not responding. And then she kept playing with her phone. And then finally she put her phone up to the camera so we couldn't see her.
Yeah.
So Andy put her out.
Yeah, that's weird. That is weird.
But other than that, everything was fine. And even that was just like weird, more so than anything.
That is so strange. I don't know. That is just weird. Yeah.
And I don't know how long she'd been on. Like, I don't know because we were at capacity. So we wouldn't have known she was even there until we went out into the breakout. So I don't know if she'd been on there from the beginning, or if I don't know. But thankfully she was not disruptive. When she did that, she did it in the main room. So we're the only ones that saw her. Like, she wasn't in a breakout anymore. So
yeah. That is so strange. That is so strange. Yeah. I'm sorry that happened. Do you want to make me the co-host though?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not do that. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, there you go. And then I'll probably put my mute on, and then probably at 2:12 in a few minutes here, I'll start admitting people, and then you can start right at 2:15.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make a little pit stop. I'll be right back.
I'm excited. Okay. I'll see you soon. All right, you tell me when you're ready to start. We've got 45 people. The link just went out. So 2 minutes, I'll start bringing people in.
All righty.
Yay, good luck.
Thank
So
you.
excited for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Do you want to put like your opening slide up so when people enter, or it's up to you?
Oh, so I should go ahead and start sharing now. Okay.
Yeah, and then your opening slide will be there as people enter. Perfect.
Can you see it? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Isn't there a way to admit all right now?
You should be able to.
Yeah, hold on.
Sorry, it would probably help if I took myself off mute. Hi, Kelly.
I love your glasses.
Thank
Those
you.
are
It's so good to see
fabulous.
you.
It is good to see you, my friend.
Yes. How have you been?
I've been well, thank you very much.
Wonderful.
And what a great way to end an amazing conference.
Oh, thank
To get
you.
to spend time with you and have had this my brain, I am just so full of ideas and hope and conviction, and yeah, this has been really good. Really, really good.
Good. Dr. Patton, good to see you. How are
good to see
you?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you too, John.
Yeah. Mukta, my buddy, my other buddy. I probably
Hello,
shouldn't start
everybody.
calling out
Hey,
names.
Delonda. Hey,
How are
Kelly.
you?
Hello. I can see some really, friends on names over here. Wonderful. I
Yeah.
agree with you, Kelly. It was an amazing closing plenary.
I was texting with, hi, for those of you who I don't know on the screen, I'm Kelly. I'm in Seattle. I have a 22-year-old daughter who's in grad school in London. And I was texting with her on Thursday or yesterday after Dr. Naska's opening plenary, where I'm like, okay, Dr. Naska just gave us a referendum to follow. And Kenzie's like, go, Tom, go. It was fabulous. It was so freaking exciting.
Hello, everyone that is joining us. If you would do me a favor and put in chat what city and institution you're from, and maybe if the city you're from has a fun association. Like I'm from Chicago, and we're known for our pizza and hot dogs, and home of Barack Obama, and place where Michael Jordan has won multiple championships. So if you put that in the chat, that would be great, just so I can get a sense of where everyone is from. Nice. People from all over the place. Very nice. So we'll start in another minute or so. I'm just gonna take this time and kind of scroll through. Wonderful. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get started. Um, I am Delonda Dowling, for those of you who do not know me. I am the awards program director for the ACGME. I've been with the ACGME for a little over 12 years. I love my job and I love interacting with the awardees. So if you have won an award and I've met you at any point, you are forever stuck with me. And I look forward to being able to get together again in person, hopefully at our next conference. So I am, just to give you a little background, I am going to be talking to you today about my journey of living a yes life. So it's, it falls under entertainment, but I am happy to be able to talk to everybody from a non-GME perspective. Hopefully you are not GME'd out, and that this will be a fun event, and it's unrelated to the other events that have taken place during the conference. So before we get started, I want to throw out some disclaimers about myself. I am just going to be sharing what has worked for me. I am not in any way a life coach. I am not prescribing that you go out and do what I have done. But I do hope that I can inspire you in some way to find whatever your yes life is and live it accordingly, however you choose to live your life out loud. And so I'm going to just be sharing some examples of things that have worked for me. I am not a physician. I'm not a psychiatrist, not a life coach or motivational speaker, but I do hope that you can find what I have to say valuable and inspiring. So with that said, I am going to take this moment and put on my Dr. Fraser Crane hat if I can. And I would ask if you would be so kind as to hover over your square until you see the rename feature and rename yourself to a period. So I will give you a second to do that. And just to let you know, the reason I'm asking you to do that is because I'm going to ask you to put something in the chat that you may feel vulnerable doing, and you might not want everyone to know your name. So if that is something that you would like to do, please do feel free to go ahead and change your name to a period. Okay. And then while you're doing that, those of you who have already done so, what I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to think about something that you have not done. Perhaps you had the opportunity to do something, or you haven't pursued doing something because you were afraid. And I'm not talking about something that perhaps you wanted to do and didn't have the opportunity, or you didn't have the time, but the sole reason that you did not do it was because you were afraid. I want you to think about that. And then whatever that is, I want you to put it in the chat. So ice fishing, going to nursing school, swimming, promotion, master's degree. This is awesome. Common threads here, yet some things that are completely unique. I love it. So I'm seeing a lot of things around purchasing homes, around pursuing education, around speaking up, around asking for promotion, perhaps, or an increase in salary. So there are some common themes here. And we do see that the more we explore, the more things we have in common. Everyone has their own unique stories, but very often our stories are similar if we just take the time to share them. So go ahead and keep throwing those things in the chat. I'm going to go move on as you're doing that. So I first want to talk about what a yes life is. So for me, living a yes life has been a way for me to cultivate joy. It has been a way of me minimizing the should haves in my life. So very often we get to a point in life where we think back on things that we didn't do or didn't do at the time we would have wanted, because for whatever reason we didn't. And now we have some regrets and we have some should haves. So seizing the opportunity to live a life of yes when you can will minimize those should haves. Doesn't mean that it will completely eliminate them, but it will certainly minimize them. So one of the things that yes life is for me is to seize the opportunity to do things, even if it scares you. Whether it scares you or not, you move forward and do it. And sometimes the things that we're doing, depending on what it is, it might be something that makes us look silly. And not having that fear about how we might look, dancing as if no one was looking, if I could use that quote. And doing things that others might not approve. Sometimes we live our lives in, I don't want to say a box, but we have a circle of friends or colleagues or family members or neighbors who know us in a particular realm, and we can get pigeonholed into whatever it is, the norm that people have come to know about us. This gives us the opportunity to do some things that are a bit outside of the box, that might seem to people that know you out of character, and doing it anyway. And if you get into the habit of doing it, doing this kind of yes life thing can become your new normal, and it can become the thing that you're known for. It is believing that a net will appear, just jumping and everything that you need will be there, and believing that. It is an intentional way of life. It is saying yes to something, even if you don't know how to do it. So perhaps you've been asked to do something, and at the time that you were asked, you didn't know necessarily how to do it. So say yes anyway and figure it out later. I totally believe in that. And there is this element of surprise that comes with doing that. You get to surprise yourself. So you get to be as much of as a spectator or an audience member in this life that you choose to live. And you get to live it, kind of like you don't know what's going to happen. So like today, I first did this session internally for our ACGME employees and was asked to present today. I know what I'm going to say for the most part, because I've done it before, but this is a new experience. I've never had the opportunity to speak at an ACGME annual educational conference. So this is my first time doing this outside of what I do for the awards. This is the first time. So nervous, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying interacting with you in a different way, or in a way that I would not ever have been able to do if we were in person. So I'm as much a spectator to this event, if I can say that, as you are. So thank you for being here with me. The other thing that saying in life, saying yes is, it is saying yes if the only reason you're saying no is because you are afraid. So I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I guess it's been like 2 or 3 years ago now, a colleague of mine, a really good friend of mine, who's also a coworker, she and I are in a band together, and a friend of hers is in another band, or was at the time. And he had mentioned to me that he was going to be performing at one of the restaurants here in Chicago. And I decided, hey, I'll go over after work, treat myself to a nice dinner, and enjoy some live music. And went by myself, walked in, he saw me. And when the band had their set break, he came over and asked me if I wanted to sit in on a couple of songs with them at their next set. So my first thought was, no, why would I do that? That's terrifying. And then my second thought was, that's exactly why you have to say yes. So I decided to do it, and of course was incredibly nervous, but had a blast. Had an absolute blast. And that was an experience that I would not have been able to have, obviously, if I had let fear stop me. So with that being said, living a yes life is both spontaneous and planned. So the example that I just gave you obviously was a spontaneous one, but it can be planned in that there are some things that I plan to do that I know I'm going to do, that I know in advance are going to strike fear in my heart, but I set out to do them anyway. So it can be both of those things. Okay. So when did my journey begin? So I want to say it probably started unbeknownst to me. I didn't know the term living a yes life. This dates back to my college years, which would have been 86 through 90. And my sophomore year of college, I decided to declare French as one of my second majors. So I'd had French from 7th grade all through high school, and I knew I was going to take it all through college. And what I did not know when I started college was that taking it every year would have fulfilled a major. So I decided to, well, I'm going to take it every year anyway. If it's going to fulfill a requirement, a major requirement, then I should declare it as a second major. So when I went to my academic advisor to do that, she just happened to be the chair of the foreign language department and also one of my professors at the time, she highly recommended that I go to a country where French was spoken and do a study abroad. So the place that I chose was Paris at La Sorbonne, and that is what you see pictured here. So that is the earliest memory I have of having an opportunity to do something that was unfamiliar and a little frightening. And so I would say, when I look back, that's probably where it began. That's certainly where my love of international travel began, but it certainly began here. So fast forward to 2013, a colleague of mine, Emily Vasilio, she was directly the reason why I was given the opportunity to be on the Steve Harvey show. So she was out shopping one day, met someone who was trying to fill a segment on the show. This is obviously when Steve Harvey was still here in Chicago. And she wasn't interested, but the person gave her their business card. And so she came back and emailed a few of us, and I was one of the people that she emailed. And I thought, hey, yeah, I'll do it. And so I went on, they had me come on. The segment that they were originally trying to fill didn't work out, but they were for some reason deciding or pursuing me to come on. And so the way we wound up working it, I didn't fit the segment they were looking for at the time, but they decided to just have me come on and ask Steve a question. So I asked him a question from the audience. It was staged, but not scripted, staged for obvious reasons. You know, it has to be for safety reasons, and also because, you know, you just can have some random person jumping up from the audience asking a question. So at the commercial break, what the question was that I asked was, my friends have been teasing me about crocheting in public. That's like one of my hobbies. And at the time I would crochet every moment I got. It could be while I was at the mechanics getting my car fixed. It could be, you know, wherever there was opportunity to do something. If I was at the time, I would take the train into work and I'd be on the train crocheting. And so my friends would always tease me that doing that made me look like an old woman. I should not be doing that in public. So that was the question I asked Steve. Does crocheting in public make me look like an old woman? And his answer was a resounding yes. You should stop doing that immediately. So at commercial break, one of the commercial breaks, he came over and asked me if I wanted to come back on the show and have my own segment and be one of the guests. And he would make some recommendations of things for me to do so that I was not repelling men. So what you see here is this second time that I was on the show, where I was actually given the opportunity to sit down and talk to Steve. And I had a little bit of a conversation before and after the show. And it was absolutely terrifying, but it was one of the most exhilarating experiences that I've ever had. So why should you live a yes life? Well, for one, you will enjoy richer experiences. I cannot even begin to tell you the amount of the richness of experiences that I've had just saying yes to things. And in doing them, you'll find your tribe. So one of the things that I did was when I moved to where I'm from Chicago, still live here in Chicago, but when I moved to where I live now, although I've lived here all my life, I decided that I wanted to, just explore the neighborhood more. And I sought ways to do that. And one of the things that I did, I'd heard about meetup groups. And at the time I thought they were like for dating. So I was kind of shying away from them. But I found that that's not at all what they were about. They really were about connecting with people with similar interests. And so I did that and joined one of the meetup groups that's local here. And we went out, we had a number of outings. I'm still active with the group, although now, not as active because of COVID and we're not really doing anything. I'm not comfortable doing anything, but we went to an event and it was called the Fair Experiment. And I had never heard of the Fair Experiments, didn't know what it was about, but I went just because it was an event that was being offered. And so when I got ready to buy my ticket, discovered that it was like this recital for adults. And so what happens is that over the course of 2 to 3 months, you practice or rehearse a performing art. There were about 6 performing arts. There was like stepping and storytelling, improv, a cappella, and a couple of others. And so during the course of this rehearsal time, and it's built in for you to not only rehearse whatever the art form is, but also it's built in to have a social component. And so I was so intrigued by the notion of this that I decided to sign up. And in doing that, I completely found a tribe of people that I would not have met. So actually 2 tribes. So there was the first tribe, which was the meetup group that brought me to that event in the first place. And in both of those, I have made lifelong friends, like friends that I know I'm going to be. In fact, my birthday was yesterday and I went out to dinner with 2 of them. Like these are just friends that I know we're going to be in each other's lives and for the rest of our lives. So I did see in the chat, people had put in swimming. So one of the things that I got from this tribe was I met a gentleman who is in his former life was a competitive swimmer and was at one point was a lifeguard and also did some training on the side. And in my 40s, very late in life, he taught me how to like for real swim, like not the little dog paddling that I was doing. He and I got together every week for the course of, a couple of months, and he taught me how to like really swim. So one, I say it's not too late. You can always learn something new. And then also in doing these things, again, you will find your tribe. So you get one life, make the most of it. It's liberating. Being a daredevil is not a requirement. So a lot of times when people think of doing something exciting and interesting or something that scares them, I think the go-to thought is skydiving or, doing some sort of a daredevil thing. And that's not at all required. Another reason that you should say yes is that comfort zones are boring. I mean, comfort zones are exactly that. They're comfortable, they're predictable, but they don't allow you that level of excitement. And I do really believe that life begins beyond your comfort zones. And then lastly, because like, why wouldn't you want to brag? That's a perfect reason to want to live a yes life. So you just never know the places that you'll go, or the people that you meet, or the things that you might do when you say yes to life. You might end up going to Thailand and having a photo shoot with a tiger. You never know, it could happen. This is the place, the Park West. This is where the fair experiment that I mentioned took place. There's a theater that had, not sure why I'm here. Is someone not on mute? Let's see. So echo still there? You hear me okay? Okay. So this is the theater that the fair experiment took place. It is a smallish theater here in Chicago, and it at full capacity seats about 700 people. And both times that I performed there with the fair experiment, we performed to sold out crowds. So the first two pictures on the left are from when I did improv, and that was the first time that I performed. And then on the right, the upper right-hand corner was the second time, and I did a cappella that time. And then the lower right-hand corner was when I was there the first time. That's backstage. And there's some amazing performers that have performed there over the years, and some names, well-known names like Sting and Aretha Franklin and Prince, among others, as well as some the more obscure kind of artists. But everyone, so many people have performed there. And you can go back and you can write your name on this board. And so I did. And at the time that I went this first time, I wrote my name and then walked away and couldn't remember where I'd written it. And I went back to try to find my name so I could take a picture next to it. And then was like, well, I don't know where it is. So I'm just basically pointing at some random section. My name is up there unless they've removed the board. What was really interesting about that is the person who took the picture for me was one of the stagehands. The rest of my group had gone back to the dressing rooms. This was right after our dress rehearsal. And he and I just happened to be backstage by ourselves. And I asked him if he'd take this picture. And when I was trying to find my name, I was like, oh, forget it. It's not like I'm gonna, no one's ever gonna see it. I'm never gonna come back here anyway. And he just kind of looked at me and he said, you just never know. And it just really resonated. And he was right. Little did I know, less than a year later, I was back a second time and doing the acapella, as you see in the upper right. So these are some of the things that have happened that where life has taken me in living a yes life. The upper left-hand corner, I was at the House of Blues. I'd gone there with the organizer of the meetup group that I had mentioned, the very first one. And her father is a member of the he is Smiley Tillman, and he has a blues band here in Chicago, and that's him on the guitar. And they were performing at the House of Blues here in Chicago one night, and our group just went there to watch them play. And little did I know, she had mentioned to her father that I sing, and so he called me up and asked me if he asked me first. He didn't just call me up. He asked me at a set break if I wanted to come up, kind of like the experience that I'd had at the restaurant, and I said yes. And of course, was terrified and went anyway and did it. And then on the upper right-hand corner, that is a picture of me with the band that I mentioned that I am in with two of my colleagues, one of whom is the other vocalist, and then the other is on the drums. And the lower left-hand corner, I was in Italy. This was in October 2019. And we went to one of the places that the excursion took us was to the ruins of Pompeii. And the organizer, or the tour guide rather, asked, we were in like an amphitheater, and she was telling us about these amazing acoustics that they had. And she asked if there were any volunteers to demonstrate the acoustics. So this is one of those things where you say yes, and you don't know, you figure it out later. So I raised my hand, and I had seconds to figure out what I was going to do. I didn't even know what I was going to sing. I just knew that this was an opportunity that I had to seize. So I raised my hand, and she positioned me, kind of told me where to stand so we could get the best sound. And in those seconds, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to sing. And I'm just going to open my mouth, and whatever comes out will be it. And what came out was At Last by Etta James. So that was an amazing experience. And then the other picture of me in the water, I have a fear of open water, and that's one of the reasons why I had not become the swimmer that I wanted to become earlier in life. And so I was given the opportunity to do a photo shoot, and again seized it. And obviously, spoiler alert, I did not die. So what are some of the things that stop us from living a yes life? So sometimes it's a fear. Many times it is okay to be afraid, but we shouldn't let the fear stop us. And people, think, I've had people say to me, "You're so courageous," or "I could never do that," and "You don't look afraid." And the reality is, I am in most situations either afraid or very nervous. But if you wait for the fear to go away, if you wait for the anxiety or the nerves to go away, you will miss out on life. And so you really just have to kind of just forge forward, and in spite of it. Another thing that keeps us from doing the things that frighten us is we are waiting for a unicorn of perfect time. And there is no perfect time, just like there are no unicorns, I don't think. But there certainly is no perfect time to do things. We just have to do it when we can. And barriers aside, like I know people have children, or we're at various stages in our lives, and work demands. And so there are timing issues, and I'm not being insensitive to that. But when it comes to waiting for a perfect time, there really is no perfect time for most things that we would want to do in life. Another thing that may stop us is we may think that we're too old. Now, I am too old to become a ballerina at this point in my life. So there are probably some things that are age defined, but not everything, and probably less things than we would think. So here is an example of someone who started something later in life. And if you don't know, have not heard of Miss Ernestine Shepard, she is a bodybuilder, or she was a bodybuilder. She's retired from bodybuilding, but she was a competitive bodybuilder, and she didn't start She didn't even begin bodybuilding until she was 56. And even then, she didn't start competitively doing it right away. It took her some years before she started doing it competitively. But she didn't even begin the actual sports of bodybuilding until she was 56. And at 73, she became the oldest competitive female bodybuilder in the world. And at 80, she wrote her first book. So she is still alive. She's 84 years old, and she still runs 80 miles per week. So she's not competing anymore, but she still is very active. In fact, I follow her on Facebook, and she's very engaging. And she is still personal. She's a personal trainer now. Sometimes we don't do things because, well, I'm not the best at that. Well, I'm not good enough at that. You don't have to be the best at a thing to do a thing. Just do it, whatever it is. So one of the things that I would like to do I mentioned earlier that living a yes life can be both planned and spontaneous. One of the things that I plan to do this year is, if I can, is a triathlon. That is something that I truly desire to do. I am not the best or the strongest swimmer. Running is not going to be an option for me because I have had 3 knee surgeries and have, not the best knees. So the idea, like running, is just not going to be something that I can do. So obviously, unless there's, somebody that is just way slower than I am not signing up for this to win. If I do, that would be great, but I'm signing up because it's something that I want to experience. So if I waited to be the best at doing it, I would never do it, more likely than not. So some things that a yes life is not, it should not be compared with anyone else's life. So I started off at the beginning with a disclaimer of what your yes life is may not look like mine, and it doesn't have to, and that's okay. Whatever your yes life is, those things that you would like to do, those things, those things that you typed in the chat, those things that maybe you didn't type in the chat that you haven't done that you would like to do. So comparison is a thief of joy. So by no means should we be comparing our journey to anyone else's. A yes life is not a replacement for a life plan. So I'm not saying that you should not have goals. You shouldn't have a list of things to do. I'm simply saying that it is a way of life. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to say yes to things that you're not interested in. So because I've been talking about this yes life for a number of years now, friends and family tease me if they ask me to do something. I'm like, well, no, I don't want to do that. Well, I thought you said you were living a life of yes. Yes, if it's something that I'm interested in doing. No, I'm not interested in doing that. So I'm saying yes to my life by saying no. And that is entirely okay. Again, you don't have to be a daredevil. It's not a list of tasks or chores, unless that is the thing that you want to say yes to. And it is not a guarantee of success. So I'm not saying that just because you attempt to do something that you'll be successful at it. But at the same time, nothing beats a failure but a try. You never know until you try it. And the great Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So some of the things these are some quotes that really resonate with me that speak to the philosophy of living a yes life. I have already mentioned leaping and the net will appear. I've already talked about, the fear won't go away sometimes and you just have to do things afraid. And you have the power to change things in your life, and again, there are some things that we cannot change, but there are a whole lot of things that we can. And so I won't read through all of those quotes. You're perfectly capable of reading yourself, but one that does really stick out for me is to live your life, to take chances, be crazy, don't wait. Because right now is the oldest you've ever been, and it's the youngest you'll ever be again. So some things that I have learned along the way is the fear never goes away. So as many times as I've sung in church, I've sung, they have been singing most of my life from a little kid. And the fear, I get nervous every single time. It can be karaoke, it can be singing with the band, it could be singing at church. It does not matter. I get nervous every time. And it's what has happened is there are instances where the fear doesn't go away, but I have been afraid enough or nervous enough that I have made friends, I guess, to say with what that feels like. I am comfortable enough with being uncomfortable that it is no longer something that prevents me from doing whatever it is. And so I just know I'm going to get the dry mouth. So I got water here, or I'm going to, be shaking, whatever it is. I just know the feeling of it. And spoiler alert, nothing that I have ever done has killed me. Like I've never been so nervous that I died. Like it may feel like you're going to die. Trust me, you're not. But sometimes the best yes is a no. I already gave you an example of that. There are times where I ask myself, what have I gotten myself into? And if I am asking myself that, I know that I'm on the right track, and that's the thing that I need to do. And I know that even if I mess up, there have been times I have hit a wrong note. I've started singing the song and realized this is too high for me. I can't possibly sing that high, or I've cracked. Or I have one time at church was singing a song that I had sung multiple times before, and in the middle of singing the song, completely forgot the words. Like, I don't know what happened, had a brain fart, I guess, and absolutely could not remember the words. And fortunately, one of my friends who was in the group with me just kind of picked up and started singing. And I'm sure people, like, no one, like, I don't remember seeing anybody like laughing out loud where I could see it. But it was embarrassing. But again, I didn't die. So sometimes, embarrassing things will happen. But trust me, there's going to always be somebody there that's cheering you on and hopefully supporting you. So just like the friend that stepped in and took over where I couldn't, you're going to always have somebody. But the problem is that we very often focus on the people that might be laughing, or focus on the people that are the naysayers. And the truth of the matter is that very likely they are wishing that they had the courage that you have to do whatever it is. And the more that you say yes, the more opportunities there will be to say yes. So what I mean by that is the more you say yes to things, the more you find yourself seizing opportunities or even looking for things. So going back to that trip in Italy, because I had said yes so much, if that had happened years ago, honestly, I would not have raised my hand. But because I have gotten so used to trying to live a life that is rich and new and different, and doing things that, perhaps scare me, or maybe things that other people are not doing, because again, bragging rights, I found myself saying yes. So the more you do that, the more the things just open up for you to do whatever it is. So what are some ways that you could get your yesiness started? So one of the things that you can do is you find the people that are doing the things that you enjoy and do it with them. So I mentioned the meetup groups, meetup.com, that exists nationwide. And so what the offerings are will vary from place to place. And certainly it's going to vary in this COVID space in which we currently find ourselves. So there will be some things that you can do. So I would highly recommend that you go on to meetup.com and find what's happening in your area. Another website, so Mac and Cheese Productions. Mac and Cheese Productions is actually the company that put on the Fair Experiment. They do have offerings. You can, and I'll share my email at the end of this, and you can certainly reach out to me, and I'm happy to share this information with you if you're not taking note of it. But Mac and Cheese Productions does have offerings. They've been able to, kind of a silver lining of COVID, they've been able to expand their offerings to a virtual space and have a wider impact than what they would have had if it had just been in person. So highly recommend that you seek them out as well. Another site is Dabble. So I don't know how many cities there are. It may not be quite as widespread as Meetup is, but Dabble, if you Google Dabble classes near me, you can find, see if there are any classes near you. And I do know that a lot of the classes are virtual now. So you may be able to do some things that you wouldn't be able to do if there isn't a Dabble community in your area. You may be able to find something in another area virtually. So I have signed up for things that, like fencing, for example. So it literally gives you an opportunity to dabble in something that you may have found interesting, and you can, it can be cooking classes or pottery. It's the gamut. It's a wide gamut of offerings there. So also I recommend reading about others' Yes Life journeys. So when I first started this, once I became aware of the term living a Yes Life, and that term is actually a service mark of Mac and Cheese Productions. Once I became aware of this lifestyle and having a name for it, I endeavored to do it. So it was like I had this whole hashtag that I was doing on my social media, and I was just, consciously doing things. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, have you ever read, what you're doing sounds exactly like Shonda Rhimes' book, Year of Yes." And I went and read the book, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is exactly what I am doing and what I want to continue to do." So I want to say in 2015, that was my year. That was the year that I said I was living a Yes Life. And it was, at the time, I just thought of it as a year thing. But by the following year, it had become such a part of my life in terms of that philosophy that I was actually intentional about it and calling it that. It is now just my life. It has surpassed a year at this point. Another book that I would recommend is a more recent book that just came out in January, I believe, and that's Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. And lastly, something else that you can do is to move forward with what you already know to do. So maybe there are some things that going back to what you put in the chat, maybe you have an idea of what it is that you can be doing to get started on that journey, and you just haven't done it. So go back and explore that. What can you do now to move forward? So go for it. Play that instrument, learn that language, run that marathon, write that book, say no, make your dream a reality. Life truly does begin at the end of your comfort zone. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. That is all I have. We have a few minutes. If you have any questions, you can feel free to take yourself off mute or raise your hand, or however you want to let us know you have a question. Would be greatly appreciated. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
Not on my end, but you were fantastic. A true motivator.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much for coming. Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
Delonda, I'll just say that was coupling that with the talks that we had all day today. I think it was a great selection. So a smart man or woman who pegged you for this closing activity. And thank you for saying yes to the things that you've said yes to. And it was a great way to cap off Black History Month for me. Just watching people move forward with a yes, no matter what no's might come their way, no matter what obstacles on top of everything else they might face. So good luck, success to you with any other adventures and endeavors.
Thank you so much, Venus. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much.
Good to learn more about you.
Oh, thank you. So you still have your, you still have your period on? Is that Dr. Louie?
Oh, this is Kagetsu.
Oh, I was like, I know that face from the Diversity Task Force. Yes.
Diversity Task Force, yes, many moons ago.
So good to see you. Thank you.
Stay safe.
You too.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Delonda, you knocked it out of the park, girlfriend.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. I hope you're not just saying that because you're my buddy.
No. For any of you still on the line who know me, you know that I'm not going to blow smoke up anybody's. No. This was brilliant and tied in with what we just heard about taking action and getting off our butts and doing something. I think that that's one of the biggest fears that people have is doing the wrong thing. And really what you've just done is you've just given us permission to say yes and go for it. And yeah, coupled with what we've done, this was great. Thank you. Thank you,
Kelly. I love you, girl.
I just wanted to say thank you. And then I was wondering too, will your presentation be available for us to view after this as well? Because I'd love to get some of the information that you presented in your slides as well to kind of follow up and look into a little bit more.
So I don't know if it's going to be posted, but I did record it on my account, and I would be happy to share it with you or anyone else that might be interested in having a recording. So if you want to, if you want to send me, I'll put my email address again in the chat.
We will see if we can get this thing. Laura, I don't know if you know if we can put it up with the rest of the things and keep it in perpetuity for viewing.
Yeah, I think we can do something like that. So Delonda, you can send me this recording and I'll see where we can get this posted.
Okay.
Yep. So it will be a permanent part of the 2021 annual conference record. And Delonda, it was an awesome end to the conference. I mean, it just put an exclamation point on everything that happened. Thank you.
Thank you, boss.
This was amazing. I agree.
Hi, Dr. Defoe. So good to see you.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's
How
so
are
good
you?
to see you.
Yes.
I enjoy every minute of your presentation.
Thank you. So good to see you.
Same here.
You have other fans on, Delonda. Say if people want to say something to her, please do before we have to close it out.
Tell me about where you got your glasses, girl.
I got it from this website called Vogue Me. You know, me and my accessories in this virtual space, I'm not going anywhere. So I had to figure out a way to still be myself. And the best thing I could come up with was glasses. So I bought probably 12 pairs of glasses since this all started.
They're fabulous.
See you, Kelly. Bye, everybody. I'm going to close out unless there's anything else. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.